All right, welcome to the podcast. We're gonna do a mid-season kind of report on the state of minor league tag pro. I have an excellent crew with me today. I have ASAP, Vic, Misery, and Russ. So really the greatest minds to break down minors. I've decided, because this is my podcast, that we are going to choose the order we look at teams by spinning a random wheel because I didn't want to just like start at the top or start at the bottom. Let's choose our first team.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Vic, and we're live.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
All right, we're starting with paparazzi. Wow, convenient.
Yeah.
Yay.
So paparazzi, third place so far, 28 points. Your team's currently made up of solo artist, Jazz, Dingbat, and K. Michael. Remind us who solo artist is?
That is Hugh with
Okay.
11 U's.
Yeah. Well, I think solo artist
What?
might be a better name than Hugh.
Hugh.
So I guess some notes on these, the packet and things that I'm gonna be showing on the screen. So I went through and added everyone's stats. These are on a per 10-minute basis. It's trying to give like kind of like what a scoreboard would look like at the end of the game for each team. I think you have like everyone is very familiar with like what you might accomplish in 10 minutes. So from my perspective, if I see that, for example, Hugh's getting 15 tags a half or a game now, like that's tangible to me in a way, and that's why I did this way. And the color coding is it's green if they're in the 80th percentile for that stat or higher. And then we will see later on if it's a bright neon green, it means they're the league leader in that stat. So just what we can see here on the screen, Hugh is in the 80th percentile or above in terms of getting tags as well as getting pups. But things like prevent or returns or things like that, it means that he's below the 80th percentile cutoff, just to give a visual idea of like when someone is statistically significant on a per 10-minute basis. But ASAP, do you want to give us a rundown on how you think your team has done so far this season?
Aside from last week, of course, we didn't do so hot last week. But in general, the team is quite fluid and quite good. Obviously, Jazz and Dingbat have won a Mooper together. Jazz and Hugh have won a Mooper together. And K. Michael's kind of been a bit of a shocker sleeper for us. When we picked him up, obviously his stats don't pop out a ton, but he does a lot of the things you would want out of a rookie minors player. He's always ahead, always cautious, and kind of looking out and covering for the other player's mistakes. Especially since, Hugh, Dingbat, especially, they can get a little wild sometimes. So it's good to have a player like K. Michael to kind of watch their back if they go for things and etc. Dingbat as well. I think a lot of people forgot how good he was. He's been on that ranked grind lately. I think he's higher than me now even, but he hits his snipes, he can move. And he can definitely get those returns on regrabs. So great player there. Jazz and Hugh known quantities, playing well. Possible position change this week. We're exploring it, so we'll just kind of see where we feel most comfortable.
Are you making a position change based off of who you're playing, or is it just a potential thing for the rest of the season?
It's just to kind of try things out. Jazz is quite good on defense as well. Hughes obviously was the cap leader last season. So it's just to kind of see, especially because we're lacking comms with Dingbat. And Hughes probably one of our stronger commers. We think maybe Jazz would have an easier time managing the game on defense as well. And Hugh might work a little bit with Dingbat to kind of calm for both of them. And I think Jazz and K. Michael would play a pretty good style of defense together. Just like that heavy prevent, no grab. Whereas Hugh's more of like looking for opportunity to create either outs for himself or for his teammates or punish bad plays from the other team. So it's just kind of a different style that I want to at least do the due diligence of exploring.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely pops out to me that Hughes already averaging a cap per 10 minutes. That's a pretty solid rate from defense, along with like being involved in the defensive stats too. And Jazz on the flip side from offense getting a lot of tags. So clearly there's a lot of
Yeah, I mean,
flexibility there.
they'll definitely be still playing parts of the other position as well, but that's even if we commit to doing that. Right now, we're just kind of in the exploratory phase.
Russ, what position do you have paparazzi in your power rankings right now?
I think I have him in 5th place right now. Um, I feel like I've been a paparazzi hater so far. Um, but they're good. I just like on Jardum last week. I think comms are my biggest issue. Yeah. What do you think the comms were like? ASAP, just with Dingback, no mic'd. I have concerns about the
Um,
comms of the team.
there were reports. I wasn't in the VC at the time, but I think the comms could definitely improve, and I think changing the positions up might be a good way to kind of maybe alleviate that problem.
Okay. Misery or Vic, do you have any opinions on this paparazzi team? Do you think third place is fair for them? Are you expecting them to do better over the back half of the season or stay about the same? They have a real mix in terms of playing two of the best teams and then two of the worst teams.
Yeah, I'll kind of go first here. I'm really impressed with how Hughes played defense this season. This is Hughes off position. He had the 10 OGASP in minors last season, so I'm happy to see that he's getting a good amount of tags and pups. And little additional context on K. Michael because I don't want ASAP to call K. Michael another one of his proteges. I coached up K. Michael during NLTP last season, and he was one of the main reasons why we won NLTP season 36. And so
That's
he's really surprising me with how well he's been growing this season. So I'm excited to see whether or not K. Michael plays offense. He played offense last season in NLTP, but I'm surprised he's been able to play at this level. I'm surprised in a good way that K. Michael's been able to play at this level. Obviously on bigger maps, the no com from Dingbat is a concern, but he makes up with that with the amount of caps he's getting.
yeah, that's the most surprising thing about K. Michael is there's a lot of things I haven't coached him on or anything that he just knows from Misery's coaching last season. He just already knows a lot of the stuff you would want him to do without having to tell him, which is quite a nice change of pace.
Makes sense. I think it's also worth noting too, ASAP, that you haven't made any roster changes here. I know you made like an ad drop at the beginning of the season, but like since games have been playing, you've had the same roster more or less. Did you consider making any changes?
I did talk to Bold about it last night. I mean, the thing is, like, K. Michael's just been so good for us, and it seems a little bit silly for us to go out there and make a change when we have the utmost confidence in him.
Yep. I guess I wasn't necessarily referring to just K. Michael. I mean, we saw
I
obviously
mean, like in terms of trades, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like obviously anti-re got dropped for sadness. People are that's kind of the way ad drop works.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, as far as the rest of the core go too, like I'm confident in their abilities. They've shown that they can do it, have done it before. It's more that we just really trust this crew.
Nice political answer. If you had to guess how many points you get over the last 4 weeks, so maximum 60, how many do you think you get?
Well, I won't say 60, but I do think we'll win the majority of our games. I think it'll be. I think there's going to be inconsistencies week to week. I think there's going to be blowouts, and then maybe weeks where we lose a little bit more. Hard to say what we'll get. I think we'll clear at least 75% of the games though.
Strong, confident answer. Anyone else have last thoughts on paparazzi? All right. Oh, Vic,
I
go
don't
for
think
it.
so.
No?
No,
Oh,
no, I don't have much to say. I mean, I think everybody covered most of what was needed to be said about them. But I do want to. I guess I'll add in a quick note that I think some people were spectacle outside of Hugh and Jazz, and especially with K Michael being brought up. But they've shown that Jazz and I not Jazz, Dingbat and K Michael have shown that they can handle themselves fine at the minors level.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I
So
think
good job.
paparazzi's in a like very solid upper playoff spot here. That there's not really
Yeah.
any questions left. I think the question is like, what is the ceiling? Especially when I think there's some teams that we might get to later that are ahead of them already or might now be perceived as stronger. Perhaps incorrectly.
One last thing too. One of the things that really impressed me about these guys is there were multiple games week 2 where we were down like I don't know 5-0 or just ridiculous amounts. We were down by a lot of caps, and everyone just stayed calm, cool, and said, "Don't worry, we win these, back on track." And that's what they did. Everyone stayed cool and got back on track, and ended up winning.
Easy
Which is
to
quite
stay
sight to
cool and
see.
calm in comms if you are no mic too. Maybe Dingbat was like losing
Yeah.
his mind, raging,
No,
slamming the
Ding-
desk. You just have no idea.
Dingbat, he's the chillest guy I've ever met. I can't even imagine what him being mad would sound like.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's go back to the wheel. See what our next team will be. Close one. All right, Baldur's Gate.
There.
Baldur's Gate is a fun one. They made a couple changes here, so their roster going into the back half of the season is going to be, it looks like Broseph and Trapson on defense, Gamma and Bam on offense. I think Gamma and Broseph are interesting pickups for them. They got Broseph from the ad drop, picking him up, and they got rid of Irony, and they traded traded Koos and got Gamma in return. I think in miners chat or something like that, they Bam said that they wanted like a real defender or like a something like that, and that's why they made the move with I guess Irony being dropped for Broseph.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, someone have
Yeah, let me kind of start this out because I was very confused as to why Irony was dropped. Irony last season made it to the Mooper Ball playing offense.
yeah.
And so Irony is still a really experienced MLTP ball. He can play defense when needed to. But I figured you would want to have your defender also be able to grab because when everybody's moving around the map, things can happen sometimes. And the last thing you want is someone to flaccid grab because they're not great at grabbing the flag.
Yeah.
Because I was really confused why he was like, I need a pure defender, which like I can understand to some extent, but I'm not sure if Broseph is that guy yet. I know that Nameless was doing his best to coach him. Things didn't work out. So I want to see why Broseph has something to prove, and we'll see if Bam's coaching can be better than what Nameless was providing.
Yeah. I think that I guess let's be clear with the Broseph piece too. At no point did I tell Nameless that I wanted us to drop or get rid of Broseph or necessarily like do anything from that perspective. I was more or less like content to continue out the season that way. But I guess they were offered Saget. We were offered Saget for Broseph, which in Nameless's mind was like a clear a clear upgrade, even if it moves Bjork to defense, which we'll talk about later. But I don't think Broseph got traded, dropped, whatever, because he's necessarily bad at defense. But I do think it's like a big question, and I think Gamma also is a question to me in terms of I think they have really high ceilings, especially just like taking each game by itself. But I think the floor is also pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the moves they can make sense individually, but when you put it all together and you see kind of what FWO did, it just kind of seems like Baldur Gate comes out the loser after all the moves and all the ad drops. But you never know. Like it could work. It could work well. It sounds like they wanted to switch it up. They didn't want to just be a mid-tier team. And Gamma and Broseph, that's definitely maybe it's a higher floor, but I definitely think it's a higher ceiling at the same time. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna say, and this might be a bit of a hot take. I think Baldur's Gate kind of came out better than people expect. Frankly, I thought you and Broseph played pretty well together, Fly, on defense for the most part.
Yeah, I agree.
You guys kept the flag in, you watched handoffs, you stayed ahead. And Broseph, especially for a rookie, is pretty good at staying ahead when he needs to in situations that other players might not. Gamma as well can be a bit of a wild card, but he does have a lot of electricity in his play, I guess. But there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of improvement as well, though, throughout the weeks. I've been seeing him hold a lot better as the weeks go on, which is nice to see. He's keeping his speed better. He's, he has some blunders here and there, but that's to be expected, I think. And I think Bam's kind of a good partner for him to kind of like stop him from making mistakes and encourage better plays. And I also think Trapson will similarly play well with Broseph, like you did. So I think this team's going to be, although it might be a bit underwhelming, I think for the most part they might bring out the best in each other. We'll see though.
Yeah, and they do have like a potentially soft-ish schedule for the back half. They're not playing totally Spikes or Paparazzi, for example. So, granted, I think FWO is perhaps better than 9th, and that would be more difficult. But like, I don't know if Baldur's Gate will necessarily drop out of a playoff position as a result of this. Russ, where do you have them ranked in your power rankings?
Let's see. I think I had them 9th
Okay.
in my power rankings. Yeah.
I think this Wave Pings game, and we'll get to Wave Pings as well, this week's result will give us a good indicator of which teams are serious and which teams are not, because I think there's some flexibility in the results in terms of, like if you have one really good week that can make a massive difference in terms of like your standings place. Yeah. But Russ, what do you think is the major factor to them being 9th for you?
I think it's a solid team. I just think Gamma, he's boom or bust, and if things aren't going well, he's gonna lose a little bit of hope and not grind it out. Like Trapson and Broseph, they'll grind it out and they'll hold it down on D. But if they get down by a couple caps, I'm not a huge believer in the team staying in every single game. If that makes sense.
How talkative is Trapson on defense? You know?
I think
My understanding is comms are pretty good.
Okay.
yeah.
They're not bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
Trapson's been doing it a long time. I think he's pretty good with the comms and what to do. He'll be a good partner for Broseph.
And obviously Bam is practically a field general out there.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was thinking. Is I think you kind of need a little bit of a bossiness out there, and we scrimmed once with Gamma, and he is very chatty and directive too. So I feel like maybe that, like, I don't think Brosep's not like a director, I guess, at this point. Like he's just wanting to take direction. So if he's getting bossed around, is probably a good thing.
I feel like it's like Bam's a sergeant. He's taking his 3 privates into war with him.
I don't think Gamma wants to be called a private, at least a
He is a part of the army.
I think the best thing Gamma can do is really embrace what Bam tells him as well.
Mm.
Gamma's one of Vic's guys. So, when a play falls apart, he says, "No, no, no, no. I was trying to do this."
Mm.
But sometimes that doesn't matter because you just need to follow the flow of the game a little bit and kind of like accept that type of criticism.
And good soldiers follow orders.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Vicky, do you have any thoughts on this?
Sneak dissing Vic here.
I mean, I would say I like the idea that they did try to make some moves. The only thing is like obviously what Misery said earlier is the irony drop was questionable. I get it, but it's like I feel like they could have tried instead of dropping him, maybe make a trade for a defender since irony obviously I think he holds a lot of value.
Mm.
Like the Misery said, he made the Mooper last season. He had a good team, good stats. Like obviously they didn't win, but they made it. So like he's good enough to get there again with the right team.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a little questionable, of course. So I just think they should have tried to make a trade. I mean, maybe they did try to and they just never got anything in return, but still like I think they could have done a better job of handling the situation. I mean, they got now Bam, Gamma Traps, and Rosive. The thing is, like, they said Bam's like, yes, Bam's, I think he's a good glue guy, leader, experienced, and he's good. The thing is, can Traps and Rosive hold it down? Trapson managed to direct Rosive on defense, and Bam willing to keep Gamma in check throughout the whole game because, I don't think, for one, they're sixth place. I mean, I know they changed up the roster, but there's going to be some difficult games the rest of the season. I mean, this coming week they play Way of Pings, which is the fourth seed, and then they play HGB, which is the fifth seed in 2 weeks after that. And then FDO, WO, I think on paper is stronger, so it's a tough-ish second half of the season. But if they're able to, check all the boxes and, willing to stay in it mentally, then I think they can be a playoff team. But right now, I would say their floor is either playoff bubble or out of playoffs. So, and I think they're somewhat of a wild card team still.
Yeah, I think that's
But,
fair.
yeah.
All right, last thoughts on Baldur's Gate. Anyone have anything?
I mean, I just avoiding TPS is huge. I mean, with 10 miners team, not everybody plays everyone, so that's a big bonus. But yeah, I'm not a big believer. I unfortunately think they will miss playoffs, but I hope they prove me wrong.
Do you hope?
For sure.
I hope
everyone else has a terrible rest of the season. We just float above everyone else. That's my ideal scenario.
Damn, that's crazy.
Hey, yeah.
Guys, you guys are so soft. It's disgusting. All right. On to our next team.
What's the next team?
I'm spinning the wheel. All right.
Oh, there's a wheel.
What's your team,
shoot.
Vic?
Totally
Oh,
spikes.
I guess
Vic was
Like
desperate for
started off.
for
I can
the.
start it off, and then I'll follow up, and then I'll let you guys talk the rest.
Yeah, I mean, Totally Spikes has been incredibly dominant. Only 2 losses on the season, 13 wins, pretty impressive. I expected Balls to You to be a good offender this season, and unsurprisingly, leads the league in holding caps. And then Sevens is leading the league in prevent, so solid on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I think the schedule has been a bit kind to them so far, where maybe none of the teams they've played are teams I think are Mooper contenders, perhaps. And so as they get deeper in the season, maybe they'll be exposed a little bit more. But I do think, obviously, LCU, I think, is a major tier offender, and Aaron and Sevens all have the experience, and I guess Vic is okay too. But but I mean, I think that like the things that we said at the beginning of the season, right? Like this team top to bottom is very solid. I think the question was how would it all fit together? Would it look good? And clearly it does. But has Sevens missed time yet, Vic?
Yes, he's missed this week, this past week, Monday. We had Corp subbing for him, and then he's missing this next game night on Monday.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to find somebody to play for him.
Oh, Sevens disappears and suddenly you sweep and don't take a loss? Weird.
No, no, yes, 1 minute. Well, I mean, that is a little coincidence, but we could talk about that later. Do you have anything else to say, or?
No, I don't have anything else to say. The team is good. I think everyone
Alright,
expected them to be good.
yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I think obviously we started off hot, and I think the people are like on paper this team can be good. It's just a matter of I think a lot of the question marks are around what's the locker room vibes like? Like, will they like crash into each other and it's just like will it just fall and crumble down, or will they actually get along and play well? And for the so far, I mean, we've got along. There doesn't seem to be issues, and we seem to be coordinated and all. And I think week after week we've been doing better, if anything, improving. Obviously, because chemistry builds, but I think, Sevens, yeah, I know it's been a while since he's played, so he's looked a little rough to start the season. Same with me. I don't play much once the season's end. So I think all of us just getting back in the groove of it and all, and having Anze and Snowball as our captain slash coaches obviously helps a lot. So it's just appreciating them for willing to put in the work to help us improve as a team, but also I just think we were also just all very open to learning and improving despite how good of a team we are on paper. I do want to say, I think we could have probably swept the first 2 weeks too if we took it a little more serious, or I don't know, maybe if we like just didn't get a little cocky person. I don't know. It's not like cocky, but like we were in a way. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I do like how we finished this past week with the sweep. Without Sevens, which is one of our main pieces of the team. Um, Forbes, he's a great guy, great player, great guy, good filling in. Congrats to him for getting called up. Forbes, well deserved. So I just think it only goes up from here. I know the second half of the season we play the third, fourth, and second seed. So I guess that'll be our test, but we'll only see, as the season goes on. But I think we'll be a top 2 seed, if anything. Also, fuck all the doubters that fucking disrespected me and shit.
Maybe they'll be proven right. If you really tank, you individually suck a lot the next 4 weeks, maybe all your stats will tank and then everyone will be vindicated, Vic. Don't get too cocky, yeah.
I'm not cocky. I'm a humble boy.
Vic,
Smile.
I want to hear your thoughts on balls to you, and his crash out over FWO getting better and the ad drops and everything.
Okay. I mean, obviously everybody knows he's a bit of a troll and shit. I feel like he played a bit of a troll, but I think it did get to him a little bit because it's like why would the captains allow after you to make those moves? Because not only did it obviously improve their team, but it's like people could have used those pieces as well to improve their own teams as well. So it's just like it's very confusing and it makes sense, but it's like I just told him like, hey man, like at the end of the day, we can only control so much that we just do, like ASAP told me, just do your ace attacking on the tiles, prove your game, prove whatever, just through your gameplay and just, show it on game nights and stuff like because at the end of the day, it's not about all the talk and all the, all the like shit talk, all the like talk and yap and like it's all about results, how you guys perform. And so that's what in reality gives the answer of, you know, what's going on, I guess, per se.
Do you think
So yeah.
Balls to You really likes it when you get philosophical with him?
Philosophical?
Yeah.
uh I mean, I think we get along, obviously we troll each other. Like, but I don't know. I think he knows this shit, so it's just him being, bossy or fucking troll.
This has
So
been too positive. Okay, someone
right.
say something
Yeah.
negative. Take Vic's just been on like
Ooh.
a gassing up his team. I need some sort of like negative take to
Yeah,
balance
be
that out. That
negative.
was sickly
Uh,
sweet.
I can give you a mix of good and bad.
Okay,
Best I
I'll
can
take
do.
that. Fair enough. Deal.
I'll start with some of the good. Balls to you and Aaron, when they play together, they're really good at setting up grabs for each other, getting into OD position, that kind of thing. Aaron has kind of been passive in previous seasons, I think. And I think playing with balls to you really helps him out because balls to you is gonna, he's gonna gun for those grabs, and Aaron has to adapt and be a part of that. And I think it's making Aaron a better player, just playing alongside him. So they're getting pretty cohesive from what I can tell. And that was kind of a worry preseason, was how they'd work well together and if they'd work well together, given that.
Yeah.
So I'm liking what I'm seeing there. And they're also really good at stalling on OD if they need to, like taking a grab, going back a base, and buying enough time for like Vic or whoever to get ahead. Vic probably notices that too. With a lot of times Vic will come down with a save at the last second because they buy enough time for him. There are some things with Vic too. Like when I was watching Vic's tape, I was kind of expecting to see some trolling, and there's a little bit, but I mean, Vic, you're playing a smart, team-oriented game. Your decisions are good. Your tempo is looking good. You're patient with the flag. You're kind of surprising a little bit. I think you're playing quite well. Not that that's that surprising, of course. You're so good.
Thank you.
But there's a habit you and Balls to you both make where you both are moving like only diagonally. So if there's like a contain where you just need to press the down key or the right key, you'll just go like down right or down left. And it especially like and it gives up a lot of caps and outs. But big thing with you, Vic, is you're doing it in close quarters. Like people are juking you out of corners where you have them dead to rights because you're just overpressing your keys. So just if you guys can lay off those inputs, or just press the keys a little bit less, or just press one key instead of multiple, then you're golden. Tape I watched, Porps was doing it too, but he's not on your team, so we'll cycle back to that. Yeah, I mean, Aaron, he could stand and make some decisions a little bit faster. He'll just wait on boosts or kind of be indecisive about where he wants to go, and then slow down a little too much. So I think like keeping speed, playing patiently while holding is good for him. On the contrast, I think you and Ballstew are really good about maintaining speed. Because half the time, like when people are chasing you, you guys are just faster than they are. So they're never going to catch up. You'll use corners to bounce back out and get around them. And, it's hard to tag people that keep their speed up. And you guys both excel at that.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen too much tape on 7, so I'll kind of take your word for it, but the things I've seen have been pretty good. He doesn't look too far out, so it's obviously leading the league in prevent too, which is quite good. How much of that is due to the hold, I'm not really sure. Seems like he's having a good season though.
Yeah, it's definitely all interlinked. Misery, any thoughts?
Yeah, Aaron was someone that was on my list before I had gotten Homie, and something I kind of expected from Aaron was to have a breakout season, show why he should be a majors player. But I think he kind of just like plays around the level of his teammates. It's not supposed to be smoke. It's just when you're playing with higher talent people, you can then have an elevated confidence, probably not the right word, but I thought Aaron was gonna like. I'm looking at the thing that's on stream right now, and I thought Aaron would have more standout stats, but I'm surprised he's playing a support role but hats off to the GM for getting balls to you and Aaron and Vic, and then Saint Bernard for pretty cheap. So I have to give Snowball some credit. This roster doesn't need changing, and depending on how things operate, I don't know if there's like a lag thing. I was told Saint Bernard plays in like a 2015 MacBook Air, but I expect this team to lose a little bit more just because the schedule's a little bit tougher going into the last 4 weeks of the season. But I still think this is a good contender team right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can only play the games that are in front of you, and they've taken nearly maximum points from the three matches they've had so far. So what can you really complain about?
Yeah, I will say too, I of course have to bring this up. Balls to use grabbing a ton, and I love that. Like he's him and Aaron are just setting up so quickly and getting out so quickly that the other teams are just stuck on OD for half the game. Um, they set things up really, really quickly and really, really well. It's fun to watch.
Makes sense. Any final thoughts? All right, let's move on. Our next team, we're going to the other side of the standings table. I don't know how you say this. The block crabs. 10th place.
Relica.
3 real wins, 2 overtime wins, and then a bunch of losses.
Wait, I think you have the FWO sheet pulled up.
It's just lagging on. Oh
I think
it just
I just labeled that.
Oh, okay.
everything else is right.
As you can tell, I was just copying and pasting these. I mean, I think first we have to start off with the fact that they picked up Sadness in replacement for Anti-Re. And so, but aside from that, they've kept their roster exactly the same. And the Sadness pickup is interesting to me because I think positionally, I think he's going to play defense, or maybe it's going to be Tinderfella because Kep is O-restricted. Does anyone know Sadness is going to play defense? Confirmed?
I don't have anything concrete.
I have no idea. I know Tinderfella still has to miss a week, so maybe they pull up a defender during that week and flip. But my guess would be Sadness is playing D when they have their full lineup.
Let's see if I can get that info too.
Yeah, I am concerned that it's not going to get much better for them. Their remaining season schedule is the hardest of all teams, and they've had a fairly easy start to the season and haven't accomplished much with it. So I haven't watched their games to be candid, to be fair. So I don't know if like it was really Anti-Re was somehow a fundamental part of the issues, and Sadness eliminates a lot of what was going on. I doubt it though. And so the question then becomes, is just one player changing out, swapping a good player for maybe a potentially slightly better player enough to propel them out of the gutters of misery?
Whoa, that's your gutter.
Yeah, that's not cool talking about my gutters like that.
Or they're leafy and overflowing.
I'll say that it did seem like Anti-Re wasn't playing his best, unfortunately. Got them old man mechs nowadays. But obviously has a lot of talent. I do think Sadness provides a lot of value, regardless of position, too. Tinder and Sadness could both sneakily play defense, contrary to what people might think. I think there's a real potential for this team to make a comeback. I do think it's going to be difficult because I think there's a lot that needs fixing, and Sadness, is just a patchwork solution almost. Kep, he's Kep's amazing when he's amazing, but sometimes he's a little careless. He'll go for plays that are not necessary with the same result of an easier play. So I'd like to see him kind of dial it back and almost simplify his game a little bit and just focus on making good decisions, and still being that electric player he is. Tinderfella too, like he needs to remember to stick to some of his fundamentals and really like drive through what made him that MVP last season. So there's a lot of question marks, but they have the talent. They can all play at a high level. They just need to make sure they're playing disciplined and smart and not trying to go for too much or trying to be a hero and just play the role that they need to play for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be clear, I have this team 10th in my power rankings, but I don't think this is the worst roster by any means. They're really talented, especially individually. I just really don't like their schedule down the stretch, and I don't like Tinder's missing time, and they have 3 offenders next to THC.
Hey, there's
And
nothing wrong with 3 offense.
some people are making it work, like your team. But yeah, and also THC, I feel like I'm down more on him than most, just because he's a West Coast ball, high ping, and he's kind of an older dude like myself. So I just know how difficult it is when you're going against really mechy players to like get those solo returns. So I mean, they could figure it out and put it together. But it's just gonna be a tough road with that schedule.
Like I thought their schedule would be easier, but then FWO made all those changes. And then I'm like, dang, these rosters are really strong. And then Tinder's missing time on top of that. Like Sadness would need to find a way to have these guys scrim more while also having the novice sub for Tinder, which isn't the greatest now because then you have like Porps and Bubbles were subbing for a lot of minors teams, even including my own for week 2. And now that's not necessarily their own anymore. Now you're kind of have to like you're kind of at that point where you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to figure out, all right, well, who am I going to grab for this week?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little surprised that they didn't try and pick up like someone like Porps, uh, and make a change in maybe like third and fourth ball. Maybe they were outbid because they had to go all in on Sadness. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a really tough road ahead, like we've all said. So yeah, I mean, it'll like them getting into the playoffs and just getting into the playoffs, not even like really being a true contender team, requires Sadness to play as like the best player in the league, Tinder to get back to MVP status, and Kep and HC really play pretty mistakeless, solid tag pro.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
won't rule that out either. Like they're all good players, but they have to keep their eyes on the prize.
Yep. Okay. Let's move on.
I was gonna say, real quick,
Sure.
does Tinder still have time missing for the season?
Who?
Yep.
Yep.
A week or 2 weeks?
1 more week left. The
Oh
estimates.
shit. Okay.
And the
Oh,
finals.
okay. My final result or standings wise, I think they're playoff bubble team. That's all I'm gonna say. Smile. All right, next one.
All right.
Let's get it.
The Wave Pings, fourth. Though Placid Trip might be the best defender in minors. We can debate that fact, but him and Jin paired together, looking pretty good so far. And then you have an offense of MC and B. I think there are a good number of questions over the success of this offense. And I don't know if they've been fully answered, considering that Flacid's adding to the cap totals almost nearly 1 whole cap per game. And neither MC or Beef are really top tier at capping or holding that much. Their schedule's also been fairly soft. They were lucky to play the bad version of FWO and maybe hopefully the bad version of OPH. But it's not too bad on the back half. I am not that high on this team having like a super, super high ceiling, but I don't think their floor is that much lower than we are now.
Yes.
Russ.
I mean,
Oh, ASAP, go for it.
yeah. I mean, I think Flaccid, of course, is going to just be everywhere on the field. He'll be making those tags, staying in base, keeping the blocks up, laying the hands down, getting caps when he needs to. So I think that's pretty invaluable to have in a player because he can kind of be anywhere and be valuable. He won't be just kind of sitting around twiddling his thumbs. I would like to see better cohesion between him and Jin. Often it seems like they're kind of not on the same page. Sometimes Jin's kind of putting himself in a weird spot, and Flaccid's trying to make up for it by putting him in a weird spot. So they're just kind of like they're giving up outs they probably shouldn't because they're kind of misreading each other, I think. I'd like to see MC and Beef as well kind of just like control the game tempo a little bit more. MC is, he has some plays from time to time. He can be very, very good, but I want to see more control in his game. Him, longer holds, better call outs for where he's coming, that kind of thing. Because right now his holding is kind of just gunning it. It feels like. Beef a little more. I wouldn't call them passive, but I'd say he's kind of in a similar sense as Flaccid, kind of keeping his eye on the game and kind of focusing on controlling the game a little bit. He can make a lot of good plays anywhere. But that being said, he needs to kind of hone in and specialize on just capitalizing on opportunities and taking advantage of other players' mistakes. And he did that last week against us. If he can just keep that up, I think this team can be really good. They just have to figure out some of their weaknesses and correct them, and then really hone in on their strengths. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm with you. Like Flacid's a great player and he's everywhere for this team. I played with Flacid and Beef, and they've have really good comms, really strong comms. But it's kind of the same boat. Like the schedule's not too tough. Besides, totally spikes in week 5. They're gonna make the playoffs in my opinion, but I just have my doubts on their ceiling. It's a really tough season in minors. I feel like any average season, this team would be competing and could win the Mooper, but with this season, I just don't think they have the firepower to compete with the top teams.
I can agree with that to an extent. I think if MC and Beef are going to continue as a successful offensive pairing, I think MC needs to take a little bit more of a focus on pups, and then like it's odd that MC has more caps than Beef, but then Beef's the one holding the flag more. And so I think if those opportunities are generated to where MC is just sitting on free regrab and he's able to quickly get into base, I think those are going to be more of the chances that the way of the pings is going to look for come playoffs. I do think this team makes playoffs. I don't know how far this team goes in playoffs, but this is like one of my dark horse teams. But there's got to be there has to be more coordination between MC and Beef.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see them easily losing like a semifinal game, like in a tight 5-game series where they're like losing ultimately on like an overtime game or something crazy where they're like so close to making the Mooper. I just don't know if I believe in them to be the Mooper contenders, especially when I look at some of the other teams like Totally Spikes that we've already talked about. There's other teams that I feel like might have a little bit more more clutch or cohesion that really elevates you?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I haven't watched much like games and stuff for these teams, but I've been somewhat paying attention to like I guess their stats and also just from what I heard like rumors and stuff. Um, I mean like yeah, Placid and Garrett Ginseng were like obviously the stronger part of this team. You know, like two people that played defense at a high level before, especially at the minors level, and have had major experience in the past. Um, and Beef and Flaccid obviously have played together before and they won a Mooper. And then MC's obviously had Stride, so it's like they have the talent, like ASAP said, and they have the potential. It's just a matter of them, obviously working on those little things that matter and can make a big difference. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a matter of them figuring out if they can be consistently good, without, doing things that are going to cost their game. Obviously, they came off a strong win this past week, so hopefully it goes only up from here. But I guess we'll just see how it goes the rest of the season. But I just think they make playoffs at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ASAP, do you think the 4-1 result for them against Paparazzi was fair? Was that indicative of them being a better team than your team, or how did the game actually feel like while it was going? Was it closer than that? Was it less close? What's your
Um,
read on that result in terms of what it says about maybe how good Paparazzi is and how good Way of Pings is?
I think, especially our matchup against them, it kind of highlighted a lot of our flaws that we haven't necessarily addressed. And they did a really good job of taking advantage of those. Um, Jin and Flaccid looked a lot better this week, I thought. Uh, and I think some of it's going to be a little map dependent too, but I think this team is not a team that's going to get lost as much versus like, like sometimes when players come back like Ginseng, they kind of look a little bit lost. I don't think Jin is going to feel very lost on a lot of maps. He knows the lay of the land. He knows how to play maps like Jardum and that kind of thing. So I think they're more organized than we expected, but they're also good at taking advantage of mistakes while also making mistakes of their own. So I think we did a poor job taking advantage of their mistakes while they did a good job of taking advantage of ours.
Yeah, that's kind of my reaction to obviously they beat us in week 2, and like they weren't bad. I'm not trying to say that Way of Kings was a bad team. We made like a lot of mistakes, especially on Asita. Like we had a poor game plan, understanding of when we should be going for pups, when we should be playing OD, things like that. And they were very, very good at recognizing in situations in which we had put ourselves at a disadvantage. And like you said, ASAP, taking advantage of that. And maybe that is a hallmark of a good team, being able to recognize game situations and manipulating it in your favor. Um,
Yeah, the juxtaposition as well with like a player like MC isn't always going to make the smartest play,
mhm.
but sometimes he'll make a play that's just ridiculously good and smart. So I guess he will make the smartest play, but he won't be.
Okay, what do you
He won't
mean?
necessarily. So he might not necessarily be consistent. Like he's
Mm.
not going to land every boost or necessarily boost ahead every time or hold every contain, but he's going to make those one-off plays that'll just kind of like run up the momentum for him. And I think that's good for this team too, because like Ginseng and Beef probably aren't going to be super flashy. But MC can be a little flashy. He had a few highlight reel caps on us this past week. We're just like, wow, what the hell, MC?
Yeah, MC
You
does
know,
some nutty things with the flags sometimes. Things like I don't even think about.
yeah, he'll just like invent a route in the game and it'll work, and we'll just be like scratching our heads.
I like it. All right. Anyone last thoughts? Wave pings.
Nope. Smile.
Great. Back to the wheel. 5 teams left, halfway through.
Oh no.
We'll speed up, don't worry.
Speedrun.
All right.
Oh,
FWO,
man,
the
this
most
team.
controversial topic. All right. FWO. Now the roster is Taurus, Anti-Re, Irony, and Koos. They were able to pick up Anti-Re after he was dropped by RBC to pick up Sadness, and then they were able to pick up Anti-Re because they had the coins after trading Balsag to OPH for Broseph, and Broseph had like a 42 coin value, which made him very valuable in ad drop. They also got Koos in a trade, 1-for-1 plus some tag coins for Gamma. And then Irony was picked up after Irony was dropped by Baldur's Gate in replacement of Oink Oink. I think the general perception is that this team is significantly better. Do we know the offense? I'm assuming is going to be Taurus and Irony on offense with Koos and Anti-replaying defense. Is there any chance that Taurus stays on defense and Koos is going no?
I would guess that does happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Yeah, we're gonna add just a nice question mark here because I don't really know. Anka's asking in the chat, why is it not Kuso? And I guess my response to that is, do you want Kus on offense?
Koos, yeah, I would rather Koos on offense than Taurus on offense, to be honest.
Okay, this is my hottest take yet.
Okay, perfect.
And
let's hear it.
First of all, I want to preface this. Taurus, I love you. I think you're a great player. However, the tape I saw, you're just behind on, and this was a concern preseason as well. Behind on almost every play. You're just swiping on defense, swiping behind, and they get out, and you're not nowhere to be found. And when you're a player as good as Taurus is, you can't do that. You have to be putting yourself between the flags, and when he's there, he's gunning them down. But when he's not, it's too often. It's often a cap because it's hard for people to stop. So I think Taurus on O might be something that would be good for him, especially because of how good his mechanics and how good his OD is. But his positioning on defense is pretty abysmal.
Do you think though that Taurus might be able to, that riskier play style, that aggressive play style will be benefited now with, perhaps, depends on your take, better teammates around him? Or at least I feel like Anti-Re and Irony and Koos are well-blooded, like experienced balls. I think especially Anti-Re and Irony. I don't know why I'm just absolutely dogging on Koos here, but like I think they're perhaps more conservative players or like more aware players where like they can cover for mistakes. At least better than, we'll just say Oink Oink might have done. I want to kick someone while they're down. But that's kind of where I'm thinking that like if you are worried about Taurus on D as too aggressive of a player, is that unfair?
I think Taurus could easily just correct the behavior and just be an elite defender. First of all, I think how he's playing now doesn't do him any favors, but I think just like tweaking it slightly turns him into a completely different player that people can't get out on. As far as people around him, he's good, but he's been a little troll. And it's often kind of has that same issue if he's on defense of kind of like playing a little aggressive, which isn't a bad thing per se. But a lot of times he'll like man up on a boost and kind of wait, but he hits them. So can't get too nitpicky about it. I think as far as like Koos and Irony go, I mean Irony should be on offense most likely, and Koos.
Yeah.
Koos is a hard one because I feel like a lot of his problems are almost like mental barriers in a way, where
He actually just
I
doesn't
think
have
he-
a very high IQ, and therefore he's forever limited at Tag Pro.
I think he
Yeah.
thinks he's worse than he is, like mechanically, so he kind of leans into other parts of his game. But I think he should try to. I think he should try to like just reset his game a little bit because he can play really well. But there are a lot of times where he simply doesn't, or tries to do too much, or doesn't think he can do anything, so he just makes a safer play that's worse. So you kind of want to see him be just a little bit smarter in the way he plays and kind of trust the mechanical part of his macro game.
Yeah, that's fair. So, as confirmed by Twitch chat, Kuso, Taurus D. I do think
Yeah, I mean, this-
Irony and Koos won't be like heavy, like crazy flacciders. So, like, if they are at a base, they should have people in position for OD, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
Feels
I think
like
if Taurus just stays ahead more, this defense is going to be really, really terrifying.
Yeah.
Because these are both, players that can make all the plays. They just need to be in the play in the first place.
Yeah. And
So if they can manage that,
he's played like a de-restricted role, but he kind of rotates before when he won a Mooper with like PK and Omni and 3 other O players. So I think I imagine Kuz will end up on D sometimes and Anti-Re will run O sometimes. But yeah, that's a really scary D. Taurus and Anti-Re together. I think they
The way-
they're gonna
hmm.
be tough.
the way I kind of look at this is they have the potential to become a better version of Way of Pings, but it depends on how well Kuz is able to adapt to an offensive role in a very stacked league and the ability for Anti-Re to not troll. And then there was some concerns that ASAP had brought up that I would also like to address. I played with Taurus and Neutral Flag. I don't want to compare the actual like games right now, but as a teammate, he didn't calm at all. So I find it funny that he's like, "Oh, my team isn't calming," and then he just kind of like shuts off, according to what Kuz typed in chat. Because I didn't have a good experience in NFTL. I don't think I'm going to sign up again for a Neutral Flag just because I was expecting comms from 2 really mech heavy players and I didn't really get that. And so that's kind of my take on it. He ended up on my do not draft list, and there's some
Ooh.
changes that Taurus is going to have to make if they want to make it to the Mooper Ball.
building off of that, this team does feel like this team has the potential to be quite the quiet team. I've heard Taurus, Anti, and Irony all shut off comms at some point in their careers. Koos is, I think, pretty chatty and can be pretty fun in the comms. But is that really his role on the team to kind of keep the vibes and get people talking? At the same time, I've also heard Anti be like a field general as well. But so it's inconsistent. Sometimes he barely talks. So I think you need this team talking to each other and talking often, having fun, and not kind of shutting down and focusing too much on their mechanics or tilting to say anything.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, the offense is a very different offense. Gamma and Saget is like a very grabby, aggressive offense. And I just think fundamentally the like makeup of this team has changed. Force's defensive partner is years above. I just find it hard to think that they're going to be like particularly bad. Like at worst, in the back half of this season, they should be a decent team. I think there are hurdles for them to overcome to be a good team and a true contender. Like the crowning in minors discussion and the meltdown of them being able to put this team together is perhaps a little overstated in my opinion. But at the same time, like they did make moves that overhauled their roster and built better around their theoretically best player.
I mean, in the end, like a lot of these, a lot of their mistakes are very easy fixes. So I have confidence that they'll be able to be a decent contender here. But they still have to fix those mistakes, and they can't just kind of give up on that.
Yeah. I mean, at least
I just
they'll
wanna
get a little time to bet in by playing RBC next week, unless RBC turns it around with sadness.
That'll be a fun matchup. Yeah, I think you guys are kind of crazy though. Taurus is really good, and he knows how to just rack up tags and play defense.
How heavily is tags correlated to winning?
It's the only thing that I care about.
Let's
so.
ask Quibble.
Where's Tumblewood when you need him?
I mean, I know you guys did the majority of the talking here. You know, it's the big topic of minors this week. But I mean, obviously the teams, you know, like everyone's like, whoa, these are players that had a lot of success in minors. I mean, Antares won before. So you know, there's that. But Taurus and Irony, Kus have played at a high level in recent level seasons. I know Kus probably hasn't had the best stats and stuff, but he's had teams that have been solid and I think made like usually the second round of playoffs. Um, Obviously the thing is who's on O. I think my guess would be Irony, Kus O, and then they keep Taurus Antares D because Antares D restricted, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I think Taurus, I mean obviously he might have things to work on from defense, but I think he's too good of a player to not use on D that I'd rather they have him locked down on defense and then just whenever their offense gets out, you know, I know Irony can make some crazy plays. Um, you know, they just capitalize and execute on the opportunities. So just having the flag in base helps them stabilize but not cause chaos and let Irony just do his magic over there with Kus being a good support. And you know, just all around I think they're just hopefully they actually end up being like coordinated or it's like kind of like how us in a way. But I think at the very least they are a mid standings team. That's worst, but I think their potential sky high. So we'll see how it goes, but I think they bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Last thoughts, anyone?
Nope, smile.
Great.
I like the smile at the end of Koos's name.
Yeah, when you were
Makes me
saying he
happy.
has to be the vibes guy, it's like that's what the smile is for. Oh joy, my team's turn. OPH. We are deeply mediocre and have been all season. Why do I think we've been a bad team? I think despite the season being up and down, it like the team itself, the energy was pretty good, and I at no point kind of like stopped believing in the roster that we had. I am a little I think our offense with Selfie and Spurk was like pretty competent and was doing a good job. Selfie especially has been pretty productive all season long, but Rosef and I were giving up a lot of outs, and it's frustrating too watching back a lot of our games because I feel like there's like a significant number of captures that were given up that are like solely like I make a mistake and it leads to a cap. Is it necessarily like my fault? 100%. Like if I am the last person who gets juked after he's already passed 3, does that make the cap my fault? My opinion on that is yes, because the mentality I have like in this minor season is like if I think I deserve to be in majors, and I think that I should be the best player on my team or one of the best players in this league, then I like expect myself, I guess, to make more consistently correct decisions and be the cover to prevent those situations. Like there's a distinct cap I can remember from last week on Audacity, and I boosted backwards and I knew it was like a pointless, risky decision in the moment. And I like bumped into Selfie and then they're out past 3 and they cap, and then that game is decided by 1 cap. And to me it feels like there's a lot of instances in this season so far where it's like if I just like didn't give in to those impulses and I didn't feel like I was trying to like make everything happen and I just played a little bit more conservatively or a little bit more trusting in my teammates, then I think we could have had a few different results change. So like to me, I think like what you were saying about Taurus maybe being too aggressive and making bad plays, like we've been last week was okay in terms of giving up hold, but I also think maybe that was a team we were playing. Is like I think there's like a lot of defensive issues on our team. So the change of trading Brosif to get Balsaget, who's an offender, to put Spjork on defense, like I don't know actually if that's going to fix the fundamental issues. Like I haven't played defense with Spjork yet. We're going to scrim after this. So fingers crossed it works. Like there just hasn't been that much that many moments for me to have an opinion on it, especially because a lot of time too when we were playing anti it would be Brosif. So if Spjork was on defense, so a lot of time it would be with Brosif and not me anyway. So I don't know. I think like the upside is definitely there. Like never didn't believe in the team and think we stopped being like a potential contender team, but I think a lot of it falls on whether or not I can add more value.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think Ball Saget has the potential to be that guy, best offender in minors if he chooses to be. Saget, when he's not getting a little too cute on the tiles, he knows how to hold the flag, lead a team, tell them what he wants, and bring home the bacon when he needs to. That being said, sometimes Saget will get too cute with it. He'll try to like juke people out when he doesn't need to, instead of just controlling the game, holding for pups, waiting for a bomb. But he certainly has the potential to do that. I've seen that quite a bit with him. His mechanics have looked quite a bit sharper as well lately. He's been moving really, really well, keeps his speed. Just sometimes throws an extra juke when he doesn't need to, that kind of thing. And Selfie, him and Selfie are going to be good out there. I mean, they should be anyway. They're both experienced offenders who can grab a lot, cap a lot, and hold when they need to. So it'll be interesting to see, because between you and Spjork, you might struggle against more aggressive teams that are willing to send people ahead and grab on OD to counteract how aggressive your offense is. So as long as you and Spjork are making smart decisions, I kind of think just on a volume perspective, Saget and Selfie are gonna put up numbers if you guys can control the game. Things that I would like to see differently, like Ball Saget needs to play anti more. He'll just let up cap chains and things like that by not playing anti. Sometimes he doesn't block for his O partner when it's like return for cap for the other team and he needs to protect them. He'll just kind of walk away. Just like little parts of the game that have a big impact. I think he needs to play a little more defensively. To an extent, Selfie as well. Especially if your defense is the one that needs help. I think you're pretty savvy on offense yourself too, Fly, as well as Spjork, obviously. But I think having a more well-rounded team would do you guys a little bit better if you guys like kind of played a little more cross-positionally, or at least mastered the fundamentals on both sides. So I think you guys are quite good, but you just need to go that extra step.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
I'm a huge Ball Saget fan because his mechs are insane and he's very gifted and talented, but he definitely does troll and will just grab too much and flaccid at bad times and not play anti. He's he's a little bit like plays like Gamma at times where he's just O is his singular focus. And he kind of loses the other aspects of the game. But overall, Selfie and Saget are gonna be really dynamic together, I think. And I think it'll help you out Fly, not feeling like you have to play perfect or you're gonna lose the match by one cap. So I think overall, and I do believe in Spajork on D. I feel like he knows how to play fundamentally, and it'll go well. That's my thoughts.
Um, sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna see if anyone else had thoughts. So go for it, Vic.
Okay. I mean, I think I like how you guys made the move to get Saget here. Does such around things, but I mean, I don't think I was around much when Bjork was around. I know he's played majors before and he's been solid, but I don't know much about his history as a player and in the league success-wise. I know he's had a couple like solid seasons, like in the tens mostly, because he was super active. And I think he was an offender, correct? Am I wrong or?
I think he's played a bit of both, but yeah, you mean the like most iconic. What was blocked by Skinny? And then it's pure capping, obviously. So
Yeah, like he's not anything flashy, but I think he's a smart player, and I think at the minors level he can fundamentally be fine. I mean, I know he hasn't had I think he just came back last season after a while, after a couple of years, so it's definitely I mean, yeah, I don't think he's gotten drafted to the best teams. Well, this season I think his team is good enough to be really good, but I do think maybe switching to D could be the solution of having a more stable defense, like you said, not giving as much outs, and also getting Sag in return with Selfie. I think can help revamp the offense. I mean, it's still the same, because I just think though, making that move to solidify your defense with an experienced player at the major who's played at majors level, good enough on defense. I think it just makes it flexible for you guys to play, and also Spuyark played offense, so if like rotation or like flexibility is there too. um so yeah, I mean, I know you guys started off rough, but I think as the weeks went by you've done better. So, and you don't have a strong strength of schedule, so I think you guys should be fine. And I think the experience between you, Selfie, and Spirit is good enough to help you guys solid top half team.
thank you, Vic. Anyone not provide thoughts yet?
Ooh.
Misery?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Rip us apart.
I depending on how scrims go tonight, I think I'm still hype on Selfie D.
Really?
I
Why do you say
mean,
that?
I don't actually hate the idea, but we'll see. I don't think Sylvie wants to play defense, to be fair.
Okay,
would
I
not.
tried to play defense with him last season, and I just started in minors, so having someone with more experience is going to be helpful for him. But I just like Selfie's gone for so many tag coins each season he's played, and for some reason it just doesn't end up being winning tag pro. I don't know why.
Hey, sometimes.
So like there's a lot of questions I have on this team, and obviously that depends on who's going to be Fly's defensive partner. But if Ballsack is going to be like your main primary grabber for everything, then I just don't know how Selfie would be able to play in an offensive supporting role, kind of like how Spjork was playing with Selfie on offense.
Yeah,
I think it'll
I'm
be
not
fine.
sure.
He played with Moto, and they did really well together. And Moto's kind of like that as well. Offense first, grab a ton type of player. If they're good enough, it'll work out, and I think it'll work out fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about having let's call it like 2 above average offenders. Like you can't just like isolate one player and then have to be like relying on the secondary. So, but yeah, I mean, I do think though, like if Saget's going like hardcore offense all the time, and you do have like Selfie and Spjork like both contributing defensively, I think it's probably. I mean, it's kind of a similar situation to what we were doing anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really have opinions until we stream tonight, so we'll find out. All right, any last thoughts on this? Otherwise, we'll keep moving.
Um,
No, Vic, you talked
You
for like
better-
5 minutes.
wait, no, wait. I didn't. I actually didn't talk for like a team or two, but
You've talked about
I
my
do
team
wanna
already,
say-
though. What else can you say?
No, wait.
Oh, well, let me glance my
Damn, you know
team.
what?
Wait.
Damn,
We're
hold
we're
up.
going to Misery's team.
Wait, it was just
Oh
something
no,
about
let
you.
him
I'm just
cook. Let
saying.
him cook.
I'm just saying you better turn it up. That's all.
Yeah, I
Turn it
mean,
off.
I've been playing better week over week, so I
Okay.
back myself.
Alright.
Anyway, Boost and Celtics.
Let's
Second place.
go.
People
You
down.
see all that? There's green all over the board.
Yeah, truly. I had my doubts. I thought Bay was gonna be a lot more washed, but he turned
Bay's my
up
goat.
quickly. He turned up quickly. I won't lie. I saw him like maybe 3 days before the draft, and I was like, this guy needs like 3 weeks. But I guess he turned it around. He was just playing so much Valorant, it was ridiculous. No, you don't understand. Every time I was online on Discord, he would be playing Valorant. Yeah, I mean, Misery, talk us through your team. Why do you think you guys
Yeah.
are second?
So I think we're second because of how much hold. Like we almost have 3 people here. I mean, it's crazy that Sif isn't marked as green for hold. I know it's the 80 percentile, but then you look at Homie, who's like 2 more hold above him if you're looking at Fly's stream, and you realize, dang, how come both my Homie, who's O restricted, who has hold and captures, and then Sif, who's temporary O, has that same hold and capture stat, while also providing a lot to prevent and tags. And what I tried to do over the course of the season, kind of walk through the process of the 3-0, was Sif. When I saw Sif on the board, I was like, I have to get him no matter what. This guy's top 25 in ranked. And if I can have him play similar to how he would in a ranked match, then I think we have a really good chance of winning the Mooper Ball. And then I knew I had to pick up Bay when I saw him. I didn't win him originally, but then FWO traded me him in exchange for the tag coins I had left. And then I'll kind of walk through the cell drop. The cell drop was something I wanted to do because there were times on that last game on Jardum where even we had 3 people on OD, and the one person who was chasing happened to be Cell, but then because Cell is restricted from not using their mic, it then becomes a situation of my team ending up having to like standardize their OD to an extent of like, oh, he's gonna. They have to assume what kind of standard capping routes are going to be on Jardum, and so I didn't want any like changes. I wanted to ensure that the rest of the team had information that they could work with regardless of where the flag carrier is. And then I just really have to give my hats off to like why I don't know, like I totally thought Sif was going to be called up. Like even if it was like FT, or if it was a trippy drop, I would have understood. But then for Sif not to get called up despite playing this well kind of baffles me.
Is he playing that well?
Sif is
Oh,
really
absolutely.
good.
Okay. I don't
Isn't
really
he,
remember it being like the thing that made us lose in week 1 necessarily. I didn't come out of being like, oh my god, Sif is so good. I think my takeaway was, wow, Bay's not washed and Homie's pretty fucking good. So that's obviously my biased take.
Yeah, I think Sif. I don't think there were too many doubts about Sif in the draft. He was lighting it up in ranked. But I think just how adaptive this team has become with really utilizing his offensive skill set is quite powerful. The big thing too is like obviously Homie can hold. In my opinion, he can hold better than quite a bit of other people. Probably even myself included. Homie's very smart with the flag, and to be able to like command your sifs and your bays, etc., and say, "Hey, I know I'm gonna stay safe. You know I'm gonna stay safe, and I know you can tag them. Go make the play." I think that's valuable to have, especially like on a quick level where you can kind of trust that to happen. And I think that's part of why this team is successful. It's because Homie's going to outhold their other offender on the other team, and Sif's going to kill the flag carrier faster than the other team's going to kill theirs. So I think a lot of that comes from that cross positional fluidity. And obviously, when Homie doesn't have the flag, he can go make that play too. Since he used to be a defender, at least is playing out this season. Bay has been impressive. I think he thinks about the game, thinks about where to position, and tries to do things the correct way instead of like over relying on what he can and can't do first. So I think part of the reason he unrusted so quickly is just because he's thinking about the game in a smart way. I think CT Crunch, I think that pickup was quite good. CT could stand. I know his hold's up there, I guess, but he could stand to be a little more patient with the flag. But he's very jukey. His comms are great locker room guy too, and he has the talent. I mean, this is a very strong team if they continue at the pace they are.
Is it all a mirage because they've only played bad teams?
One could say the teams are only bad
No.
because they swept them out. Well, not swept, but you get what I'm saying.
We got to get a game 5 in, and CT Crunch is going to look to do that when he faces his revenge team. When he gets a revenge game going on Monday with Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, real gentlemen win the first 4 and lose the last. Better for player retention.
Yeah, definitely. Vic, do you have thoughts?
Yep.
Or Rick, you have 1 minute starting now.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I think you guys were already a good team in getting CT Crunch. It's just, if anything, just bringing that upside to your team that's already solid and really good. Obviously, it also helps with the no mic situation that Cell brought. But I think you guys, I think getting J Bay was a nice pickup. Despite after a long time he hasn't played, he still looks solid. I mean, I don't think there's much to say about your team. There's no big weakness. It's just a matter of they've gone against middle of the pack teams, so it's just a matter of can they be contenders. I mean, I think they can. I think they have the talent, and Homie's a good guy to lead the team. So it's just I don't know. There's just nothing like glaring that I think you really need to worry about. I think you did well with this draft, so hopefully your team can keep it up.
It's also a bit crazy too because Cell's also quite a good player, and the fact that she was dropped is a little bit sad since she wasn't picked back up. But she definitely has value on the right team. It's just hard to say if this system was too wild for her to really like control the pace of the game, like in her own way, to where she provides that value. So it's kind of tough for Cell, but I think CT's probably a better fit for the team.
I like it when people make hard decisions despite having a good record. Missouri's
Yeah.
ruthless. This is like
I had to do the same. I had to do the same thing last season with Cooler, man. It's not the best feeling in the world to say, "Hey, we've got all these wins, and we still need to figure out how to be a better team." And I, as a GM, have to be responsible for the actions that I'm taking right now
Okay, Brett
when I drop
Stevens.
sell and when I
It's always
pick up CT Crunch.
it's always cooler too. I think I think everyone's done that with cooler. He always goes for so much, and then there's drops and stuff, and it's like, oh man, it's not like cooler did anything wrong, but
Didn't do anything right either.
Okay.
Okay.
no.
Whoa.
Russ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna draft Sif for majors until other people that I drafted talked me out of it, or other majors players that I talked to talked me out of it. So I think he's playing really well, and obviously Homie is good enough to be in majors, even on offense. He's really good. So I just think those two players can kind of make any game competitive with them. I'm curious to see how CT Crunch is going to look on defense, though.
On offense,
That's my only.
right? I think Sif will go. CT's restricted though. I think.
Well, yeah, but let's be real. Sif and Homie are going to hold the flag a majority of the time, no matter where they start on the tiles. So I think CT Crunch will have to be playing Tempty a
Yeah.
fair amount.
Maybe he can clean up the nearly 18 pops a game despite only grabbing 14. All those NDPs is for a game is actually insane. I will say that.
He has the most practice in how to prevent doing that.
Yeah, disgusting. Okay, last thoughts on Boost and Celtics.
Scary team.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I would say top 3 team.
All right. All right, Fraggle Block it is. Our penultimate team. 16 points. I mean, it's all pretty tight towards the bottom. Like, you have, like, a couple teams that are substantially above, and then there's just, like, a whole hodgepodge of teams within a couple points. But you got Porps now brought in. Had great stats in his week with Totally Spikes. And then you have Marcus, Batman, and Borges. Porps D with Batman, Marcus, Borges, O. I mean, Marcus has been very good at majors. I don't know how much that's translating to minors. I think Porps does make their team better, especially if Porps is playing defense. It means what, Marcus goes offense more? Or Borges is going now instead of Squeebo? Actually, sorry, before we go into that, anyone have the drama as to like why Squeeb asked to get dropped?
Oh, it was because of my team.
Okay.
No, but it was game 4, and there was a couple minutes left. I was the one streaming the series because they were facing my team, and Squeeb just leaves. And so at this point, I have to leave it. It's some sort of interpersonal drama between the team or whoever he was playing offense with. Something just didn't end up working out, and Squeeb left for games 4 and 5. Game 4, after a couple minutes left in game 4, Thanos Ball subs in for Squeeb, and they win game 5.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the run-of-the-mill standard kind of version of what is exactly transpired.
I mean, I definitely think Marcus is substantially better as an offender than Squeeb was. So if you're keeping everything else equal and Marcus is starting to go O, then that offense is going to get like eons better.
Well, they've been it's weird what they've been doing. It feels like Marcus has had to transition to other parts of the game just because the team hasn't been able to succeed if he's not making these like god tier plays, and it shouldn't be, and it shouldn't just be Marcus and 1v4 matchups. It shouldn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think this team has a ways to go a little bit. Squeeb, the situation's unfortunate, but not to talk too ill of Squeeb, but he's had seasons in the past where he's just had no dog in him, or just low energy, or just low motivation to really be that player that he can be. I was hoping this season he'd kind of shake that up, turn it around. So it's kind of sad to see him just leave. That being said, if his heart's not in it, he's not going to play well. I've had him leave tournaments where he was like holding the flag or something, and then just leave, and then the other team captain like beats us in the tournament. It's like, what? So like, while it's surprising, it's still a bit sad. Would like to see him play the season out. But that being said, they did get Porps. The tape I've watched on Porps, he does a lot of things well, but he still is way too heavy on his keys, swipes around too much, and falls behind the play more than you'd like to see from a defender. So I'd like to see him clean that part of his game up, because he's, for the most part, pretty aware and knows what he's doing. He has the skill set. He just doesn't. He's just a little bit lazy on the keys, it feels like. Ed's been pretty surprising lately, I think. I think he's been improving, and I think he's kind of keeping a close eye on how games are playing out and where he can provide value. So I'm curious to see how him and Marcus play together cross positionally, because I think there's real potential there. Borges, again, he's playing better, but I'd like to see a little more of an ascension from him, where he can maybe hold a little bit longer and control that game pace a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, right now, as Misery was saying, it is kind of the Marcus show out there, and I think other players need to step up to the players they can be, to really provide that support and stability, so that Marcus can just play kind of a normal game where he doesn't have to do too much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not convinced that this team is going to get that much better, though. Like, maybe
Not
mildly,
really.
but
Uphill battle.
Like, I don't trust. Like, I've lost my trust in Borges that I kind of had from when he was on LBT last season. Like, we had him playing defense, and then they made this switch, and Marcus was playing defense with Batman, and Borges was playing O, and then they weren't able to generate any caps, and then Marcus had to go O again. So there's been a lot of inconsistencies, and I don't think adding Porps instead of Squeeb is going to change anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. I don't think there's much of a change here. Obviously, Porch is a nice addition on defense, but there's just too many issues, I think, as a team and individually, that it's just, I don't think it's gonna work out. I mean, obviously, he's a good player, but I don't know if he's also the kind of guy to rally up his like teammates and be like a leader, and lead them to get those grindy wins. I mean, I've seen this past week they got 2 OT games, but 1-1, 1 loss, but uh Captain's -9, so it's not like it was too bad. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's just hard for them to turn it around unless like something happens. Some like y'all said, somebody else has got to step up and help get this team headed in the right direction. And maybe Porps is the difference here, but it's gonna require a lot more than that.
yeah.
One more thing too. I'd like to see Porps. He just moves a little too much on defense relative to how much he needs to move. And I think if he can
Stop
just,
pressing his keys would be ideal.
yeah, he kind of just like, when he goes for a block, sometimes he'll just kind of swipe behind people and let him out. And a player like Balls to You, for example, will just shred that apart. So you really need the movement to be a little more concise, and then on top of that, to make sure you're ahead when you make your movements. So I think if Porps can get that part down, it adds a shit ton of stability to defense. And if there's stability to defense, Marcus and Borges won't have too much trouble. Problem is, will they be able to do that before it's too late?
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not entirely sure they can, but I wouldn't rule it out either.
I very much hope this week that Selfie and Saget eviscerate Porps and Batman on defense. It'll bring me the utmost joy.
Oh no.
Okay, any last thoughts on Fraggle Block?
Just last quick thoughts. What like I when you're Marcus and you go for 120 coins and you kind of have to be the leader, that's like a tough position to be. And I feel like Squeebs played a ton of seasons and probably wasn't too open to taking advice from Marcus Yolo, if that makes sense. I'm just speculating. But so I don't know, we'll see. I think they'll do better with Porps and Marcus on O, and he can be holding the flag and kind of controlling the game more on that end of things. So I still have faith, and I think they have a easier road ahead of them.
I do think the road is easier. I just think it's you're battling at a bad odds when it comes to the standings right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's insurmountable, but
Yeah.
to be a top contender, they will have to fix some things.
I mean, they're firmly in control of their own destiny because everyone they're playing with is people fighting for the same, like, probably like 5th to 8th spots in the like final standings to get to playoffs. So,
Yeah, good point.
all right, last team, Harlem Globetrotters. We have
This team is so bad. No, I'm just kidding.
terrible. I will say it's worth noting that 15 of their 22 points came against the worst team in the league. And when they have played good teams, it's been bad, but they are 5th. And I like the Bubbles pickup a good bit. I think clearly Freakin' Dalek are a good defense. Do we think Carl and Bubbles will be a good offense?
I sort of think of it as like a lateral kind of thing because ASAP could probably speak more on Bubbles, but he didn't have the greatest experience last season as his entire roster was swapped out due to getting banned or ghosting or whatever. But I'll let ASAP kind of carry it away on more Bubbles personally.
I do have Bubbles on my novice team this season, and there's been inconsistencies, I'd say. But when he shines, he plays very, very well. So I think a lot of it is overcoming some of his old habits and kind of like firmly placing himself as like an offensive leader. And I think here, I think he has a good chance to thrive because if he can stick with playing a smart game control offensive game, he is upper 80th percentile for hold after all. Carl's got the mechs. This guy's beaten me in an OFM before. Like he can lay down and make the plays, as well as just play good offense. When he's played defense in the past, he's had success. So it'll be fun to see Carl playing off of regrab more for Bubbles when Bubbles puts himself in safe situations, and if Bubbles can be consistent with that, I mean this team can be quite good. Wraith has been playing pretty well from what I've seen. Deku and him have been pretty damn solid. So as long as they can kind of put those pieces together, I think obviously week 1 and 2 they had their struggles. But if they figure things out, I think they'll find success.
Chris, where do you have these guys in the power rankings?
I think I had them 6th place. Yeah. Right in the middle.
What do you think their path to success looks like?
It's tough. I I like Bubbles. I don't think it's a huge move up or down. Moving on from CT Crunch. I don't know. I think they're a good team. I think they just don't quite have the firepower of the top teams. A little bit like I was saying with Way of Pinks. Freak's really good. He'll get a bunch of tags. Deku, I feel like he's been better as of late. Carl, he's got the moves, but I don't think they can compete with the top teams. And I'm not really sure there's a path to taking that leap. That might be bleak, but
No, I like it. I love negativity.
Oh yeah.
So to be on a positive note, Vic, you can soliloquy here about why they're a decent team.
Well, I do want to say, not that I noticed with your schedule thing, little format thing, it is a little concerning that they only had a good week against the worst team. And all their other, the first 2 weeks have been against obviously top 3 teams, but they haven't looked as good. I mean, statistically, each player has done good. Their defense is just pretty solid, and I know Carl's a good player on both sides, and he's very mechanical. I think he's good. I think Bubbles obviously probably gets a little more firepower in there. I mean, I think CT Crunch was a flashy player, but I guess maybe too raw. Bubbles has played before in minors too, but it's just like Asap said, the inconsistency. Because I played with him a couple seasons ago when he came back, and I noticed he's inconsistent. Like when he looks good, he looks good, but when he looks bad, it's bad. So it's just a matter of getting him to stabilize and just not prevent those bad moments from happening from him. But if he does cut that out his game, I think this team can go a long way. They can turn it around. But I don't know. It's just they said, it's a lateral move, but I see the upside to it, so it doesn't hurt to switch it up. But yeah, I mean, I don't got much to say. I think I said a lot, but I think they barely make playoffs too.
The one thing they're going to have to really watch out for is just making careless plays as well. Bubbles and Carl on offense, maybe on OD, are prone to mistakes. And Deku and Wraith can also be susceptible. So playing conservatively when they need to is going to do them a lot of favors to allow what they can generate on offense to really shine through. Because if you're capping 5 times a game but also allowing 5 caps, you're not netting anything. So they really need to be careful about playing a disciplined game while staying a strong and aggressive offense as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Misery, do you have any thoughts? I don't think we've seen you yet.
I mean, I'm kind of sleeping on Deku a little bit. I mean, this team has good prevent, but then I just don't know. It's a lateral trade for CT Crunch and Bubbles, but I just don't know if this team has what it takes to succeed. Because like, even though Deku still has really good, he's high on prevent, he's not getting the tags. And so I think if this team could have a little bit more of a focus on pups, I'm not trying to give him advice because I'm facing him on Monday, but pups is probably going to be one of their big concerns going into the matchup on Monday. But then we're also playing on a map I wanted vetoed. So yeah, Basenji sucks.
No, Basenji's so fun. That's just a terrible take.
What?
Oh, it's so
Come
good.
on.
Oh, I've just been just subbing whatever random scrims I can, and it's unbelievable. It's so fresh.
Bambi is truly a genius.
Yeah. You just can see the bigger picture, Misery. You don't understand.
Yeah, that's why I'm not playing anymore.
Fair enough. I think also just one thing on Dalek, if you're a heavy prevent team, you're just gonna get less tags in general because they're not gonna be grabbing as much.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would be too critical of that, especially when Freak is so return heavy. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I regret it because I don't necessarily regret it, but we were deciding between Dalek and Broseph in the draft, and I wonder if we would have been better at the beginning of the season if we had gone for the like simple prevent ball instead of like upside. Keeps me up at night. Not because it, yeah. Anyway.
You mean you regret not getting Vic?
No, I've never considered
Vic
that.
wanted no
I mean, that's
PhD.
never crossed my mind.
I'm not seen today. Oh, loady load.
No, that's never crossed my mind. Don't worry.
All jokes considered, Vic, you're playing quite well.
Why
Thank
are
you.
we going back to complimenting Vic?
Hey, I
Bro,
think he needs
'cause
it right
all
now.
the
man.
doubters, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Look at
Oh
him.
my
He
God.
needs it.
All right, I think
I'm
we've
just kidding. I
covered.
don't give a fuck.
We've covered all the topics. We've gone through all the teams. Anyone have a hot take prediction they want to leave the stream with before we close this out?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay, and it can't be about you or yourself or your team.
Oh, no.
It wasn't any of the above.
Okay, go
So,
for it then. Let's hear it.
I do want to say, I think hot take. I think Dingbat has a good chance to finish top 5 in caps and hold, and I think he could really surprise a lot of people.
He's so good.
I mean, he's not 80th percentile in either right now, so we'll take a little
Yeah.
bit, but
I think
15 more
can-
seconds of hold a game, I guess. It's not unbearable.
He can't hold. The rest of the team has to hold.
Like,
Everyone gets a turn.
okay. Anyone else? Hot take they want to share?
Yeah,
Right.
totally spikes is the win in the Mooper.
Isn't?
They're not winning it. They're not winning it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would actually put money on that too. Anyone want?
Okay.
Russ, open the book up. I'd put like $50 on that.
I still think that's
Uh,
the favorite. I still.
Nah, Boss U's gonna get his eyes just focused on majors. He's not gonna care. He'll start being even more aggressive. Vic's ego is gonna explode, and suddenly he's gonna start overplaying. And
Whoa!
yeah,
I don't have an ego
they're just
now.
doomed. Sevens
how
will
do you
start
think I'm
missing
building them up?
time. You know, it's just all downhill from here.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, go for it. I have 3 minutes to scrim, so there is a deadline. That's the reason I'm being pushy. So go for it ASAP. But you're on a time crunch.
It wasn't that important.
Why you
right.
suck?
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We had a good number of spectators the whole time. I will put this on YouTube, and maybe we'll do a postseason or like a pre-awards.
End of season?
Yeah, like an end of
maybe?
season pre-awards type call.
Yeah, like before playoffs and shit.
Exactly, playoff predictions. All right, catch you in a few weeks. Later.